I see all the pieces are fitting together. And on my list of things to do, this is, I'm less, it seems less urgent for me to talk more with other publishers and find out what their backends are. We want to focus on PKP. I see how you're building the Wikidata to connect with it. In December, when you come to one of the Thursday, your Friday meetings, and train people up on the Wikidata part, the follow-up that I'm wondering now is, if we had a cadre of a couple of people that were helpful with the Wikidata, are there ways that they could help with building that bridge? Or if there are people that are excited about it but they're not familiar with the mechanics, would some other HGAPers be helpful writing user stories? I'm a student who's trying to, I'm a grad student who's trying to figure out how to submit something to a journal. I'm trying to figure out how can we have HGAPS help build this bridge?
Yeah. Well, so there's a few things that are still going to be. There's a few things in terms of populating. There's a few Wikidata things that will absolutely still be useful, and some of those are really simple. So again, I'm going to share screen, and we'll go over to this one is an example. Okay, so we have a whole load of authors on this article. Okay, fine, and we have all of their affiliations listed here. Good. Let's go over to the Wikidata item. Now, the only thing that Wikidata we can't rely on it for currently is all of this information being accurately represented. Because if I go to, okay, you're an example where that's actually been done, but let's go to Anvenmeter. Let's say where are the authors? Anvenmeter I shall go to. So this is the Wikidata, sorry, this is the Wikidata item for this article. It's an instance of a scholarly article, etc. And if I go to Anvenmeter, this is where we would be looking for what is their employer, what's their affiliation. And currently, we don't have that. That information all needs to be populated. So basically, every time an article comes in, again, this is part of that technical editor role, to be honest, of, well, we need someone to go through and go, okay, cool, so who submitted this? Anvenmeter has submitted this. Anvenmeter has an ORCID page. I need to make sure that their Wikidata item is completely up to date, particularly with affiliation information, because that's where this is then going to be drawn from. So at the moment, we're manually overriding Wikidata because this information isn't yet in Wikidata. But eventually what it'll have to say Anvenmeter is F, Department of Psychiatry, Northwell Health. So it would be employer is Northwell Health, a non-profit, affiliation string is the Department of Psychiatry. And that will now automatically appear here instead of this. The reason why this is important is it makes it all machine readable. So when we say, again, like Northwell Health in text here, instead, what's now happening is, oh no, the software now knows we're specifically talking about this Northwell Health, and we can then do cool things in terms of visualization and tracking and whatnot. But at the moment, that's a manual task that needs to be done for all of these articles, not only all new articles coming in, but our entire back catalog, going through and making sure that is done for every author in every article.
This is really
Um,
coming together.
so,
In my mind, what I'm hearing is, okay, so let's get an event on the calendar for early December where you teach a cadre of people how to do the wiki editing, and those who are interested could apply for a technical editor position.
mhm.
And um, and if we get more than 5 applicants, then I'll tell you who are the 5 that I would pick. The and we can put them to work. Let's catch up on the backlog, and then your skills will be really tuned as we get new papers in, or the um, and I think that there will be enthusiasm on this end because that's an attractive rate even in the US. And they get to add a line to their CV
Yeah,
of technical editor. Um, yeah, I think, does that sound like a good concrete plan?
yeah, absolutely. I think that that's the way to do it. So I've already put the link in the chat, but I'll send it through to you by email again, which is the list of tasks that they would be performing, the pay rate and employment contract, and the application page. Please stick your information here, because I think that those are the 3 things that they would need to see. And yeah, I'm happy to run basically like a little mini training session and even editathon where it's like, okay, I'll train you up. Let's all do like a couple of them so you can see what we mean. And then yeah, people can apply because that'll basically be one of the tasks on the list of technical editor tasks.
Yep. I bet that we get, so if they ask, do you have a sense of like the rate, like if they're like, about how many hours a week? I'm sure it's very flexible, but
Yeah.
but do you have a hope, like if somebody's like, I have no life, I will spend 120 hours a week?
Yeah. We decided to cap it at 5 hours a week to begin with. And that is because of the amount of grant money that we have.
Yep.
But realistically, I think it could probably be above it. Yeah, I think that 5 hours a week is the cap. And I don't think that that's a requirement. I think the requirement would be like around 1 hour a week with the option to go above that. And that might be expanded if we got additional grant funding. The other thing that I need to look into actually a little bit more is the Sloan Foundation, because I know that they've given out grants to quite similar projects before, and I'd need to check what their application process is like. But there are some other non-Wikimedia foundations that we could also go to for funding, which I think could be very useful.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that super duper helpful. And I feel we covered a lot of ground, but you're caught up on the things that I was trying to explore or connect. You've helped me understand which things are a higher priority and why or why not. That's super helpful as I continue to have other conversations. And I'll work on getting us to editathon workshop in December to build a team to help with the Wikidata and technical editing.
Excellent. I'm going to send through all of those links just in an email, like as a bullet point list from an email, just so you have the links on file if you ever need to go back into your archives and find one. So I'll call it useful links from the HGAPS board meeting after party. And yeah, I'll send through the information on technical editors, annual planning grant and what we're doing with that. I'll send just through a link to PKP, open journal systems. Was there anything else that would be useful to include on that? I think that those are the main things. Oh, additional training material, the WikiSite conference.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
no, I think that is everything that I was going to send through.
This is great, because this is my note taking during our conversation was much less organized. It's not even, that's not even a good looking mind map. The but the yeah, so the other things that I'll drop into this are the user stories as a place that non-technical people might be able to also in my notes are the using the contribution section to include more specificity about who wrote which part, or the, and using the talk page to disclose a non-author related role if I have, as I have involvement with some of the other ones going forward. The and you're already including the links for the teaching materials that got generated with the Open Science Week, Open Source Week for the
Yep, Open Access Week.
And the and on our to-do list with Ali and Gwenyai, how do you say it? Gwenyai.
Yep, Gwenyai.
We want to get to a dollar amount with PKP of sort of here's what we want to make sure to put into the APC. With, and then more money for technical editors as we've gotten that firmed up. As I'm talking with, so what, as I'm thinking about like what else is the publisher paying for supporting, the a staff person, and you and I both, you with the journals and me with HGAPS are trying to figure out how far can we go without actually having staff. And you're putting a huge amount of time in and trying to figure out what can I automate, what can I, to get yourself out of the, and that's the same thing that I'm doing now with organizing the board. And can we have money to pay for an accountant? Should they be staff? Should it be hourly? All of this. There are a lot of parallels in the lives that we've created.